conversation I wanted to kind of get into is I have my understanding just from working with you guys and being a part of the sport and being a fighter myself, but what do you think makes the difference between a good fighter and a great fighter?
Mental state, mental health, I feel will be a big part of that. Physically I can do a lot, but mentally it's like sometimes a bit challenging. It's like I'm leveling up here, but it's like that's got to level up also. I think what makes a great fighter is understanding and knowing his body, hard work, dedication, consistency, solid mental health.
A good fighter, they can go into the regional scene and kind of dominate and know the game plan and make sure that they're efficient with their movements and everything else. I believe the great fighters know how to transition that into the big stage and block out noise and allow themselves to rise to the occasion. There's been a lot of times, especially like me taking a few L's, that my focus was off. The great fighters know how to stay focused even when the times are so imminent and like the pressure is definitely on.
Yeah.
So don't allow pressure to make them fold. There's been plenty of times where like I've seen guys that really good in the gym, and you've seen it too. They're killing people in the gym, but then they go out there and they shit the bed. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, like I've been a prime example of that. Down to my last performance. Fights prior to that, like thinking like you're ready, going into the fight, and then the pressure's on, whatever, you get dropped. You get dropped a couple times and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and it's gone.
What was the difference? What was that change that you made?
I legit went into that fight like I was just hopping into a bar. Like I was chilling with my people and maybe a ruckus popped up, I'm ready to like do my thing.
Do you think that was because you were in your hometown?
No, honestly I don't. I was thinking about that because people asked me that, was it because you was back in London that made you feel better? Nah, like I was in a hotel and shit. It was all super weird and foreign. I hadn't been to the UK in over 3 years. I wasn't 100% comfortable. Yeah, I felt like I'm from London, bro. Like I felt great there, but nah, it was legit my headspace. I was taping my hands and I was like, bro, it's just a Saturday night on the door. But I think I'm just working the door, Like it was just chilling. Like, I'm not thinking about the people, not thinking about who's watching the cameras. Did not give a shit. Jake, go in and do what we've been training for the last fucking however many weeks. We know what to do. Just do that. And I stuck to doing that, didn't let anything else get in the way, and fucking succeeded.
With bare knuckle, man, there's so much at stake. It's a different level. It's different than MMA. It's different than boxing. Like I've been able to not only watch it and be a part of it, corner you guys, be close by the ring, and you've been in there with some good guys. The difference there is like your mentality definitely has to make that transition and that change of being confident in your abilities, but also knowing and sticking to the game plan. And that's where you go from good to great, right? A lot of guys get over and do well just because they're athletic, or they have the athleticism to hit somebody hard or evade a punch or whatever. But sticking to the game plan and always staying confident, and then also not letting adversity get to them. Yeah, you might have lost one round, but you can go back in there, you have still more rounds to go, you're not finished. Having to overcome adversity and then fight your way back is another indication that you are a great fighter. What do you think from now on, what's gonna be your mindset going into the next fight?
Honestly, my preparation and understanding like what we're doing for a specific opponent, you can just be ready for a fight, but like, sticking to the game plan, understanding what the strategy is gonna be, how I wanna be moving, working my footwork, it's no big deal, bro. It's sparring without gloves for a night.
There's a definite click in every fighter's mind when their name gets called and they step in the ring or the cage or whatever.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? There's a definite
it's just like
snap into it, right?
The love week is fucking here now, boy.
Well, you're Jake, man, and you're a nice guy, you're charismatic, but I've seen that switch happen on an instant. We all have it, especially when you're in that environment and you're facing an opponent that's literally out there to try to kill you. Right? At the end of the day, even if it's a sport, the goal is to hurt that individual. Fight or flight kicks in, right? Cortisol spike. Sympathetic nervous system has now tapped in. You're ready to go. When that happens, explain to people, what does that feel like?
Oh, bruh, it's like a high of its own. And my bollocks bigger and better than yours. We're about to bite down, throw knuckles. You've either got the minerals or you don't. And for any fight, there's not a lot of people that do bare knuckle for that reason. How big are your bollocks? How composed can you stay? How can you let your emotions not get involved? That feeling, bro, especially when you're standing there. Honestly, for me, it's like getting into the ring and I can smell like previous sweat and I can smell the canvas. I'm like, it's so fucking raw, mate. And especially now with the no gloves, going into the ropes and like touching it and like touching my shorts and touching myself with my fingers and my hands because my hands are out. I've got a bit of tape, fucking gypsy, like, let's go. It's fucking lit, mate. And I fucking love that shit.
It's a slight case of out-of-body experience.
It really is.
I remember stepping in the cage and kind of looking at myself from a distance, and then it kind of closes in, and then now you're in it, and now you're looking through your own eyes. It's like a movie. And for some people, that could be too much. You can see.
That's like being in the limelight and you being like, shit in the bed.
Deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
And those people usually don't step into greatness. Those are the ones that like allow the lights and the cameras and the crowd get to them, and it doesn't allow for them to showcase their true abilities. That's where I find that line of,
I
from
totally
good to
agree,
great.
bro. Because I've fought on smaller shows and not been so, then started to fight on bigger platforms and like more eyes, more noise and bigger stadiums and fucking platforms with thousands of people in, and like you do feel that pressure, and a lot of people do fold under it. I've pretty much folded under that. I've been in that situation.
What do you think young fighters should focus on when they're trying to go from that regional scene to getting into a bigger stage?
Honestly, don't think about the people on the outside, man. You've really got to just stay so true to yourself and think about what you are going in there to do, and just know that what you've done training-wise, preparation for what you're doing, that is all you have to do. Don't worry about anything else. Because some people do, it's like, oh my God, you're gonna be main event, and people, I don't know how people have been, like, and it's that pressure, like you're the main man, like you've got to show the fudge up, you know what I mean? And it's like, don't worry about anything. Don't, just, it's you and this dude and you're sparring, and you got to just do what you do on a normal day when you're super confident and you're comfortable and you're loose.
Yeah.
And how it is, it's the same. Transition that.
I've told you this before fights. It's just like it's another day. It's another day. You know what to do. And in the fight itself, it is just you and him. It's you and your opponent. It's not the lights, it's not the cameras, it's not the crowd booing you or cheering you on. It's none of them. They're not in there. I believe you have two types of fighters, right? You have the showman, and then you have the true martial artist in some capacity. And that could be just the person that likes to compete and doesn't like all the other stuff that goes along with being a fighter or being an athlete. With those individuals, they kind of feed off of that energy, right? The ones that like the limelight, they feed off of that. Connor, those types of individuals. And for those, they may be able to take all of that in, look around, see the crowd, and still hone in on the goal, right? Which is winning the fight. Then you got the guys that need to block out all of that, or the girls, whoever, fighters in general, they need to block that all out and focus on the task. So you got to know who you are. I think self-awareness is always
It is self-awareness and knowing yourself. And it's like, it took me a while, for example, I would come out, I would never really sing my music or whatever. I'm so dialed in, like so serious. My last fight, bro, I come out looking at the crowd, I was rapping the song, I was dancing, I was just so there in the moment and enjoyed it. That took me 17, 18 years to be able to feel how I felt that day. Some people can just have it. I've had my losses and my bullshit happened that's like knocked me off and been like, oh shit, do I keep doing this? And had to build myself up again, and then losses again. It's like, it's been a yo-yo. Some people it's different, but like my road, my journey's been mental.
Well, that's why I wanted to talk to you about it, because we've had our ups and downs, in the career. I've been with you for 7 years now. So
MMA to boxing to bare knuckle.
Yeah. Seeing the undulation and the peaks and valleys and shit. I think a true man is really tested when he does hit the lowest of the lows and he's able to bounce back and rise to the occasion. With that being said, I think, solidifying yourself as a quality athlete, whether that be you being able to hone in on the details, being technically efficient even when you're not doing well inside the fight, maybe even slightly tired, fatigued from the actual fight itself, maybe you're scrapping hard. And then also knowing the game plan and sticking to the game plan no matter anything that's going on around you. Right? Anything that might deter you or distract you from what you want to do, which is win the fight. Another thing that I think a lot of fighters do, and I've been guilty of this too, is like they'd rather look good losing than actually winning.
They would rather
look good losing than actually win the fight, as opposed to losing and looking bad. One of the boxers that we work with, or I work with, his problem was that he even said it. He doesn't want to look bad. He would lose the fight and not look bad and be happy with that, as opposed to trying to go for the win.
Damn, just want to be good enough just to like.
Just be good enough.
Good enough to go for it.
I don't want to look bad. I don't want to get knocked out. Right? So you don't go the extra mile, right?
Bro.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that in MMA, bro, it's prevalent, because you can get submitted and be like, oh, I got submitted.
Because like you could be a striker and then you get subbed and it's like, oh yeah,
I got subbed. There's something that you could have did to try to win that fight. But instead.
That's your excuse.
Yeah.
Now fuck that, I'm going in to kill, bro.
It's kill or be killed. And when you have that mentality, for the most part, if you do everything correctly and you block out the noise, you'll be successful. And at the very least, you'll have some dignity. How you feel? Good?
I feel good, son, yeah. It's gonna be an eventful year this year, son.
Brutal boss week.
Fuck yeah, boy. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you learned a thing or two. You like using kettlebells? Yo, me too. So why don't you check out my brother's 8-week program, Combat Kettlebell. Yo, Phil, where can we find that?
It's in the link in the description, bro.
There you go, I'm out.